Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to take a look ahead to the coming month of November and see what the sky is going to look like and what kind of objects we're going to be able to see. So we'll start with sunset on the 1st of November. We can see a reasonably similar sky to late October. We can see the moon and Saturn are reasonably close together. As we move forward, we'll come up to the full moon on around the 5th or the 6th of November. So here we go, the moon is 99.8% full. If we go forward another day, it drops down to 97.5. So the 5th is the night of the full moon, and at 99.8%, we might not get to see it. No, we don't get to see it at 100% full from here in Ireland, but that's okay. It's still going to be reasonably close to full as soon as it rises on the 5th of November. And we're here quite early. We're here at just 6:30, and it's already dark enough to see plenty of stars in the sky and for the light of the full moon to be very apparent. If we take a closer look, we can see that it is very close to full. We're seeing a little bit of extra cratering around one side because it is just a little bit less than full, just 0.2%. But we can also see that the moon is really close to us. It's just 355,000 kilometers away, give or take. So this is only 5,000 kilometers further from us than the moon could potentially get. So this one really is a supermoon. It's almost 100% full, and it is pretty much as close to us as it is going to get. And of course, if you are in a different location on Earth, then the moon could very well be closer to 100% full for you. So it might be a 100% full supermoon. But this one is really super. This one is more super than the supermoon that we had in October. We're going to keep moving forward. The night of the full moon, of course, is going to make it more difficult to see faint objects in the sky, but even quite early in the evening, we're going to have some famous bright objects that will be visible even on the night of the full moon. So here we are, just 9:30, and Jupiter's already up into the sky. Of course, barely. It's very close to the horizon, but it is up, it is already there. So we're seeing two planets comfortably before midnight, whereas we've been seeing a lot of planets in the morning for the past couple of weeks, couple of months even, but now we're starting to get those planets back into the evening sky. Speaking of which, we can see Aldebaran there, and the Hyades. Aldebaran is bright enough to shine through even with the light of the full moon, and the Pleiades are really close by there, quite close to the full moon here, even closer if we move a day into the future. That's going to make them more difficult to see, but Uranus is out there as well. Once we move a little bit later in the month, Uranus will come up to its opposition. It's a very difficult planet to see, so if you do want to see it, it's best to give yourself the best possible chance and go out when the viewing conditions are as close to ideal as possible. Here we are fully through to the morning, now through to the 6th of November. Orion is practically leaving the sky, so it's going to start getting more visible as we get into the evening time as we come through November. Leo is really nice and easy to see, nice and high in the sky. Venus is quite low to the sun, and as we move later in the month, Venus is going to move out of view in the morning sky. It is getting more and more difficult to see. It's already pretty difficult to see here. On Halloween, on the 31st of October, the comet 3I Atlas was pretty close to Venus in the morning sky. As we come through November, it's going to continue across the sky, getting further from Venus. It is very difficult to see, but here we go, yeah, just a little bit higher than Venus here on the 8th, and it will continue moving out that way. It's dropped all the way down to 14th magnitude, so it is going to be quite difficult to see, but the moon is going to be less full once we come through to the 8th, but earlier in the month it will be out of the way. We're going to have to wait until very late in the month for the moon to be out of the morning sky. Because our full moon is so close to the beginning of the month, we're going to get our new moon a little bit later. So we're seeing our new moon here pretty close to the end, and there's 3I Atlas in a good level of darkness. As the moon moves across the sky here, we can see it coming nice and close to Jupiter and Pollux. So the three of them almost make a line in the sky. If we take a closer look, we'll start by getting the moon in the center so that we can see the bright star Pollux and Jupiter and the moon all together at the same time. We can see that they do almost form a straight line, just as the sun is coming up for us here in Ireland, but they're very close together even when they are in darkness for us here in Ireland and they're a little bit out of perfect alignment. If we take a closer look at the moon, we're not quite maybe seeing one of Jupiter's moons here, but you would need a very wide field of view to be able to capture all of those objects together, and that's going to make it harder to see smaller things. Taking a closer look at Jupiter, the 10th of November looks like a fantastic morning to take a look at Jupiter. We're here at about 5 o'clock, so we've got all 4 of the Galilean moons really clearly spread out next to each other, and the Great Red Spot is just about coming into view there. So not only is the moon going to be lining up with Jupiter and Pollux, but Jupiter will look particularly good, at least there in the morning. As we move back to evening time, you can see the moon is noticeably less in alignment with Pollux and Jupiter. This is a great way to show how much the moon moves over the course of just one night. If you go out in the evening, you'll be able to see this sort of a triangle with Pollux, the Jupiter, and the moon. But once we come through to morning time, that will close down to almost a straight line. We can see that the moons are after moving here, and the Great Red Spot is around on the other side of the planet. So we'll have to wait until morning time for it to turn into view. As we move closer to the end of the month, we're still only really at the middle of the month here, but we're here just before midnight, just coming up to the midnight sky, and we have the moon, bit less than full, Jupiter, Sirius, already above the horizon just before midnight. We're on the 9th, we've moved back a day. That's okay, we'll move forward to the 10th, we'll still be just before midnight. So the moon and Jupiter and Pollux will line up on the 9th, the morning of the 10th. We're here looking just after turning midnight on the 11th of the 11th. So we have Orion nice and clear, already reasonably high in the sky. We've got the Hyades nice and clear, the Pleiades, and roughly where Uranus would be, pretty close to the south. So we'll zoom in here and take a closer look at Uranus. It's almost closer in the sky to the Pleiades. We can see it's just underneath them there. Again, you would need a very good telescope to take a look at Uranus, but we're seeing it here at just 5.6, magnitude 5.6, magnitude 5.78 due to where it is in the sky. You can see it's not being reduced by many air masses because it is very high in the sky. If we come down to how illuminated it is 100%. The actual moment of opposition is a little bit later in the month, around the 21st. So that's when Uranus will really be directly above the south. We can see it here directly above the south at a little after 12 for us here in Ireland, but only a little after 12. Once we are through to this time in November, we will be after moving past daylight savings time, which means we don't have to adjust for a whole hour anymore. We don't have to wait until 1:30 to see true physical midnight. We only need to wait until a little bit after 12. It looks like here at around 11 minutes, quarter of an hour past 12 is when Uranus will be right in the middle of the sky, 100% illuminated, magnitude 5.6. Pretty much the best time of the year to take a look at not the most distant planet, just the second most distant planet, but certainly one of the most difficult planets to actually see in the sky. Neptune is that little bit harder to see, but of course, Neptune is pretty much out of the realm of possibility for most people and most types of equipment. Uranus here is much closer to being visible. And because Uranus is here at magnitude 5.6, that is very nearly the kind of magnitude that you can see with the naked eye. So zooming in here, one of these dots should actually be Uranus. There it is. And that isn't a crazy faint dot to be able to see. Of course, at many other times of the year, Uranus is much fainter. But if you are out in the countryside late in November, this is when Uranus will be at opposition this year, and it is going to be the best opportunity for you to see it. I would still recommend using a telescope or binoculars, but if you're lucky, if your eyesight's good, if you can find a perfectly dark sky, you may well get a chance to see this very distant planet. So there's some of the main things that are coming up in November. We've got our supermoon way back here on the 5th. We'll bring ourselves back to the 5th here. Way back here on the 5th, we've got our full supermoon. It's the second supermoon of the year. It is more super than the last supermoon that we had. As we move through later in the night, we'll start seeing things earlier and earlier, like Orion and the Hyades and Jupiter. And as we come through later in the month, really Here we're looking at it on the 9th. It's the morning of the 10th, really, that the Moon, Jupiter, and Pollux will be in a straight line, and Jupiter will look fantastic at that time. We do still have the Comet 3i Atlas out there to be seen, but if you do have a telescope or binoculars, it is also a fantastic time, or it will be on the 21st or so, a fantastic time to take a look for that planet Uranus. So I hope you get a chance to see some of those interesting things in the sky. We're just getting to the start of November, so of course there'll be plenty more to talk about during the coming month. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it. If you like this kind of content, then please subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also read this information on my website, queeveenscontent.ie. Most importantly, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.